I'm a 31-year-old male. I've been with my wife Lisa since college, and she's currently 7 months pregnant with our first baby. My wife Lisa is witty and likes to play jokes on me. For example, she likes to pass off fake acts and stories as real and see if I'll believe them. Lisa was a theatre kid, and so she's great at acting and selling these stories. I used to fall for her pranks all the time since I'm gullible and she's so convincing. However, now that I've been with her for so many years, I can typically tell when she's messing with me. She's upped the antics over the years, and so she can occasionally get me to believe one of her jokes. Today, when I got home from work, Lisa had tears in her eyes and told me she needed to talk to me about something. I was seriously worried and sat down with her immediately. I asked what was wrong several times, and she kept saying it was hard to talk about and she was terrified I'd leave her. I kept pressing, and she told me that she had an affair with her boss several months ago and wasn't sure if the baby was mine. I asked if she was serious, and she said she was 100% serious and started crying even harder. I got up, started pacing, and tried to gather my thoughts. After a few minutes, Lisa burst into laughter and said she was just joking. I was furious. I said it wasn't funny in the slightest to make jokes about cheating and the child not being mine. Lisa then said she was a bit offended that I believed that specific prank and not several others. She said she couldn't believe I thought she'd cheat on me. She then got teary and asked why I didn't trust her. I asked why I would trust her after she pulled that prank on me, managed to cry telling me about it, and continued with the prank even though I was visibly upset. Lisa said it was harmless and I was blowing things way out of proportion. She continued to ask why I didn't trust her, and I told her I needed some space. I ended up going to a speakeasy and have been away from the house ever since, even though Lisa has called several times. I know it was a prank, but I think this joke went way too far, especially with the tears. I was also clearly upset, as anyone would be, and she should have stopped it as soon as she realized I was actually falling for it. Usually Lisa's jokes are funny, but this one really got me for some reason. Am I the idiot and am I overreacting? I feel badly because she's very pregnant with my child and I don't want to stress her out, but I need space right now. Not the idiot. Send her fake divorce papers and let her see how funny it is for her. She shouldn't be toying with the trust that her relationship is built on. This is on her, and she cast the doubt on your relationship. She was cruel, and that was not a prank. What is she, 7? Ask her for a DNA test too, because she might have told the truth. She's dumb as a rock too. Why don't you trust me? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? He did trust her when she said she was cheating. Should he have assumed she was a liar? And what's she going to pull on their kid? Actually, compared to what Lisa did, fake divorce papers would be pretty harmless. A taste of her own medicine, definitely. But I'd argue that OP should take a much more serious approach. What if the pregnant wife was only partly joking? Maybe she cheated before, but is certain the baby is OP's. Maybe she's testing out the waters to gauge a true reaction. Paternity is something no sane person jokes about. Also, I agree that he should be asking for a real paternity test. I'd be sending real ones. There's nothing remotely funny about what she did, such as doubling down and turning it on him. Nope, over. OP, the worst part about this isn't even the prank. It's after the prank she sees you are upset. Instead of apologizing, she blames you for believing her and begins to question you. Also, just remember she can make herself cry, so don't let tears fool you anymore. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. We live together. We have both kids. I have mine 24/7. He has his daughter every other weekend. Sometimes his daughter stays with me for all her school breaks while Dad works. When we got together, we agreed that we would treat each other's kids like our own. I try to be involved as much as I can, but try not to overstep as he co-parents with his ex. I haven't met his ex yet. I haven't asked to meet her, and neither has she. At this point in our relationship, I assume that I'm his family. Yet he keeps me separate from his daughter regarding sports, birthday parties, etc. He never invites me, only says, I have this going on for my daughter, and is on his way. I've always respected it, never questioned it, and remained in the background. 3 months ago, he mentioned working overtime or a second job to save up for Disney for his daughter's birthday. He never invited me, he only mentioned it. I assumed eventually he'd tell me more and invite me, but he didn't, and I never brought it up. A few weeks later, we had a barbecue with friends at our house. One of our friends overheard he had a Disney trip planned for his daughter's birthday without me. She told him he should take me and give me my place as his future wife and his family. I joked and said he didn't invite me because his ex doesn't want me there. He avoided the comment. All he said was, it's going to be my ex's first time going to Disney, she's never been there. I let it be and moved on from it. 2 months later, he brought it up again and I asked questions like, who's all going, etc. He said, my daughter, both my parents and my ex are going. I said, okay. He brought it up again and this time he mentioned a friend of his ex was going, and that made me feel some type of way, but I let it be out of respect for his daughter. He talked about it again today and said he wants to go fish out there and plans to stay longer with his dad. While his mom, daughter, his ex and ex-friend will come back sooner. I then said, oh, more people are going? He said yes, and that his ex's sister and boyfriend would be meeting them up there. I couldn't stay quiet any longer and asked him why I wasn't invited. Since there seemed to be a lot more people going, he told me he asked his ex if I could go and she said no. I asked why she said no, and he said she just said no and that she didn't want to meet you. It hurt my feelings, and I told him it was very messed up for him to exclude me if he wanted me to be there, that his ex should suck it up, and that if he really wanted me there, he should have stood up to her and let her know what he wanted. I understand it's his daughter's birthday trip and it's about her, but I just felt excluded from something important in his life that I wanted to be a part of. I guess I was wrong to assume of being included, and now he's angry at me because I made it a big deal and says he won't go. He should still go. All I wanted was to know why he didn't invite me. Now I feel horrible and wonder if I crossed the line with voicing my feelings. You are the idiot. I think the ex planned the trip and invited your boyfriend. It's not his trip to invite people on or push for additional people. It's possible they're trying to make a core memory for their daughter with her family on her first visit, and that's perfectly fine. While it sucks for your position, it's important for their daughter to see her family as a unit, even if her parents aren't together. Okay, but Opie is now part of that family unit. She spends enough time with the daughter to be an important part of her life. If the ex's intentions were to help the daughter see her family as a unit, then Opie would have been invited, as this would be the perfect opportunity for the daughter to see everyone together and get along. Instead, Opie has been intentionally excluded and branded as an outsider, so unless there's something Opie isn't telling us, then the ex is either being petty or Opie's boyfriend is lying because, for whatever reason, he doesn't want Opie there or around his ex. Opie, time for you to decide if this will be your life. Remember, you've never met the woman, so you've absolutely no idea what she's actually said to him about you, only what he says she said. I suspect he said you're just a roommate and possibly that you have a crush on him, but it's not reciprocated. I believe he's spinning you a yarn, taking advantage of you financially, and would leave you if his ex so much as crooked her finger toward him. Not the idiot, but you really need to find out the truth. My husband Cassian, 30 male, and I, 28 female, have been married for 3 years, and I'm currently 30 weeks pregnant, which will become relevant later. Cassian has never had a good relationship with his mother because she was very invasive when he was a kid and did a bunch of really crazy things to him. To clarify, all of these nasty things were just wild accusations, and it's safe to say that he didn't have a good relationship with her in his childhood or adulthood. He has an okay relationship with his dad, a lot better than his mother, and they talk at least once a month, but it's very rare that he has contact with her now. I've met her once or twice. His family tends to have these really big birthday parties. He has 5 brothers and an incredible amount of aunts, uncles and cousins. And there was one this weekend that we both went to for one of his uncles that he was close to growing up and still speaks to now. He knew that his parents were going to be there, but figured that with everyone else who was also going to be there, we could just avoid his mother or whatever worked. All was okay when we got there. We milled around for a bit and Cassian ended up going off to speak to one of his brothers. I was making my way over to go see one of his aunts when I was stopped by his mother. I thought she wasn't going to do anything at the party, so we had a conversation. She asked me about everything and then asked if she could touch the baby bump. I kind of laughed it off and said that I'd rather she didn't because I'm not a big fan of people I don't know touching me, LOL. She started getting pushy, saying things like, I'm going to be this baby's grandmother and I have a right to know them and watch them grow up. She continued saying, I know that Cassian hates me, but that's because he was always such a sensitive child. To me, this was the point when I was just done with her crap, and so I told her to screw off. It just proves to me that she hasn't changed, because she still doesn't admit to doing anything wrong and treats my and Cassie's kid with the same entitlement that she treats him with. I said she had no right to see the baby and that if she hadn't gotten the clue by now, then she probably never will. I know I could have been nicer about it, but I was just done. Cass and I left, and he's not really bothered by it at all, but I know I could have dealt with it with more tact. Am I the idiot? There's a time and a place to tell a mother-in-law to screw off, and I think this was the perfect time. Congrats, you're not the idiot. It's about you and your family now, husband and child. Whatever opinion she has on her role are moot. She doesn't get a say. Honestly, she was being pushy after you declined, and it sounds like you tried to be polite and friendly about it at first. Personally, I would consider going no contact because it sounds like she would bulldoze her way into your lives, especially since she feels owed to be part of your child's life. It could be about power. Your husband is an adult man now, after all. Either way, she is an abusive person who has done incredibly disgusting things to Cassian, and I have no sympathy for her. Everyone's the idiot here. Here's why. His mom sounds like she has had some issues, if you know what I mean. Translation, alcohol problems. But she says 4 fairly mild sentences and you were done with her crap, and then instead of something non-nuclear like, oh gee, look at the time, gotta go, you whip out a full screw off in front of his family no less, and insinuate that you won't let her near your baby. Yes, you could have been nicer. You could have counted to 10 before you exploded into a frothy red mist. You may dislike her, and you may be justified in disliking her, but you actually put your husband in a really awkward position. Good, bad, or indifferent, she's still his mother. I, 23 male, and my roommate, Justin, 23 male, are med students. We've been living together as roommates for 2 years and we live in a hostel. Last week was our final exams and it was an absolute nightmare. We were surviving on 2 or 3 hours of sleep daily, fueled by coffee and energy drinks. I know it's not healthy, but there's no other way to pass, lol. On the last day of exams, Justin was unusually exhausted. Around 1 a.m, he decided to sleep and told me to wake him up at 3 a.m. I agreed. However, by 2:30 a.m, I was dead. My brain was shutting down, my notes were getting blurry, and I knew if I stayed up any longer I'd pass out. I decided to wake Justin up early. I woke Justin up at 2:30 a.m, told him the time, and suggested he set an alarm so he wouldn't oversleep. Jason sat upright, rubbed his eyes, nodded, and said, all right. I was like, don't forget to set the alarm, and then almost instantly fell asleep. We both woke up at 8 a.m. I'd set my alarm for 6, but I kept hitting snooze. Justin freaked out, accused me of not waking him up as promised. I reminded him that I did wake him up at 2:30 a.m. and suggested he set an alarm. Justin said that he was too sleepy to comprehend what was happening and insisted that I should have stayed awake to wake him at 3 a.m. or at least made sure he was fully awake before sleeping. Justin's exam didn't go well and now he's blaming me. I understand his frustration, but I think he's being unfair. Am I the idiot? Is there a reason Justin couldn't set an alarm or several? Also, is there a reason Justin thinks you're his mother? You're not the idiot. Seriously. Justin needs to learn some personal accountability before going into a profession where he's literally responsible for people's lives. And I get his exhaustion. I did med school, surgery residency, infectious disease as a trainee, and fellowship with a newborn. It's no excuse. What would getting up at 3 a.m. have achieved? You would have done way better in the exams having an extra 5 hours of sleep and would have done having a proper sleep every night. I hope he never becomes a doctor. He does not need a roommate to wake him. I do not want irresponsible doctors in the future. He can just blame himself. Oh, stop with the drama act. You act like he lost a child instead of just being so sleep-deprived and exhausted that he didn't set an alarm. Good lord, you people make mountains out of molehills. He's 23. Give the kid a break. He doesn't have a clear view of the situation, and he has no skin in the game that we do. Give him a chance to learn from this mistake and don't blame him for his in-the-moment reaction. He's probably freaking out, thinking his career might be jeopardized by this bump in the road. With a little distance and perspective, this could be a great lesson for him to learn now rather than when he's caring for patients. A little backstory. My grandmother had this beautiful antique necklace that's been in our family for generations. It's nothing too extravagant in terms of monetary value, but it has a lot of sentimental value because it's been passed down from mother to daughter for 4 generations. My grandmother and I were very close. I, 27 female, used to visit her every Sunday for tea and we'd talk about everything. When she passed away last year, she left the necklace to me. She even mentioned it in her will, saying she'd hoped I'd keep it safe and treasure it as much as she did. Now, here's the problem. My cousin, Sarah, 29 female, was upset when she learned about this. She and my grandmother honestly didn't even have the same kind of bond, but she says the necklace should have gone to her because she's older. Traditionally, the heirloom has gone to the eldest daughter. She believes that since she's the eldest cousin, it's technically hers by right. At first, I tried to be understanding, but she's made it into such a big deal, constantly bringing it up and even involving other family members to back her up. I offered to let her borrow it on special occasions, but she says that's not enough and that I'm being selfish by keeping it. Now my family is divided on this. My mom and a few others think I should keep it because it was Grandma's specific wish, but some of my aunts and uncles think I should give it to Sarah to keep the peace. I feel torn because I don't want to cause a family rift, but I also don't want to give up something so meaningful that was gifted to me personally. So, am I the idiot for wanting to keep the necklace? Keep the peace. That is a nonsense thing people say to try and appease the bully in the family instead of calling them out for their bad behavior. Not the idiot, and stop lending the necklace before you don't get it back. Dear family members, Grandma gave me the necklace. I am keeping it. Cousin can quit whining and complaining to anyone who will listen and honour Grandma's wishes. Oh, and keep the peace. If your Gran wanted her to have the darn thing, then she would have given it to her. Well, she didn't. And you can tell that to everyone who wants to complain and moan. Maybe there's a reason that Gran didn't leave so much stuff in her will to Cousin Kathy and Aunt Susan. Did you ever think about that? Do not let the cousin or anyone else who's moaning in your house or anywhere near where you keep this necklace, because they will steal it. They will 100%, any one of them, try to steal it if they get the chance. People who so firmly believe that other people's belongings should be theirs are not above stealing.